If God truly exists, why is there still evil prevailing in the world? Ladies and gentlemen, it is my desire that we understand and we come to a point of knowledge as to this question. This question comes as a result of a teaching that is universally always argued about, and many people hold their own sides to it. Okay, we got good news from the technical team. Most of us can now watch us on YouTube. We can also watch now on YouTube. Praise be to God. Hallelujah. Wow, we are streaming now live on YouTube and Facebook. Whew, this is great. So let's go ahead and let's get into the real thing, because we are against time. And remember, I said we are handling the topic, if God truly exists, why is there still evil prevailing in the world? So I said we're going to be attempting to answer this, and we'll answer it thoroughly and detailedly from the Word of God. So, if God truly exists, why is there still evil in the world? If God truly exists. I asked this question many times when I was growing up, until when I studied theology, and we did a lot of apologetics, and we studied a lot about God, the existence of God, and everything. And then I realized that, oh, truly the Bible had answers to it. The Bible had answers to all the questions I was asking. So this question is one of the fundamental questions of life, and this question comes as a result of studies in proving the existence of God. And I want to say that this question was not asked by believers or Christians. This question was asked by atheists. A lot of atheists, they ask these questions. These are people who don't believe in God. They don't believe in the existence of God. So they are the ones who said, if truly you are saying that God exists, why is there still evil in the world? If He is God and He's existing, then why is there evil in the world? An atheist, he will try to explain to you that the fact that there's still evil in the world, it's a sign that God does not exist. So by answering this question, we'll also be proving to you that God exists. There's no way we can attempt answers to this question without proving the existence of God. And so, I'm going to show you how I'm going to answer this question. I'm going to answer this question with 4 different, what I call themes. The first way I will prove to you or give you an answer to this question is to prove that God exists. So I'm going to give you at least 7 proofs that God exists. The second thing is that I'm going to show you the source or the origin of evil, where evil started. Are you following me? I'm going to show you where evil started and how it came about. And I'm also going to show you how it spreaded to mankind, to us on earth, and how it has been till today. And then the third thing I'm going to show you is God's behavior and mind towards evil. I will show you the source and the origin of evil. Then I'll show you God's behavior and mind towards evil. And number 4, I will show you what God is doing or what God will do about the evil. And so, if God truly exists, why is there still evil in the world? First of all, let me start by establishing the fact that God exists. Then I will show you how evil came into the world and what God is doing about it. So, I will start by proving the existence of God. I'll start by proving the existence of God. Now, after doing a lot of studies on theology, I realized that if you want to prove the existence of God to a normal person, if you want to stand just on one fact or on one point, that point will not be supportive enough for that human reasoning to comprehend. And so, each time we are proving the existence of God, we are trying to let you understand that if I give you just one fact, you'll be able to deny it. But I'm going to present you the facts in a bundle. And when you consider them in a bundle, you'll be unable to deny it. It is like a stick of a broomstick. If I give you just one, you will break it. But if I put them in a bunch together and I give you, you'll be unable to break it. So, whatever I'm going to be telling you now, don't take just one fact. Take all, consider all the facts. And you'll discover that you'll be unable to deny the fact that God exists. And so, does God truly exist? I will start by answering that yes, let's prove it. If I don't say yes, then I'll be unable to prove it. So yes, God exists. And how can you say God exists? Prove it to us that God exists. Now, below are 7 proofs I want to give you. The very first way to prove that I want to prove that God exists is that the universe is an effect of a cause. The universe is an effect of a cause. We are proving about a deity. We are proving about a supreme being, a spiritual being, trying to use physical reasoning and human knowledge to prove it. And the best way I can prove it is where we are living, the surroundings where we are living. We are living in the earth. Now, when you look at the earth, you discover that the earth is an effect of a cause. The earth is an effect of a cause. Now, according to cosmosis or to a cosmologist, people who study the earth and everything and the universe and all that, according to them, one of the fundamental laws of science is the law of cause and effect. Science believes that if there is an effect, it means there was a cause. From where I come from, they say if you see fire, then know that there is smoke, or if you see smoke, know there is fire. So, there's no effect without a cause. Science believes in that. Science believes that you cannot see an effect if there was not a cause. And it is from there that I want to prove. Science believes that for you to be able to see this happening like this, there was a kind of a chemical reaction or something that caused it. And so, generally, it's also a principle of life. It's a philosophical principle that there is no cause without an effect, and there's no effect without a cause. So, according to the law of causality, the earth is an effect of a cause. And what are we saying? The earth did not just existed. Something caused it to exist. And according to science, they claim to say that the cause of the earth's existence is a singularity. And according to John Dewey and his theory, he says one time there was a big bang, about the Big Bang theory, that one time the world was like in an ice block, and then of masses and gases, and then chemical reactions caused some kind of convulsions, and then the thing spreaded and exploded and then formed galaxies and all that, and then that's how the earth was formed. And then we asked that what caused, where was this ice block, what caused it, what made it happen? And then one of the recent scientific theory said it came from nothing, that singularity is nothing. We cannot agree that a nothing produces a something. No. According to laws of reality, you and I will agree that only something can reproduce something. If there is nothing, then nothing also can be reproduced. And so, since science has not been able to lay their hand on that singularity, therefore we agree that singularity should be something that is not in the natural, because science has not found it. So that singularity should be a supernatural something. And that supernatural something, I call it God. Because it's not in the natural, I call it God. And so I believe that God is the cause of this effect of what we are seeing. And since science has not given us a name of that singularity, take it as a supernatural or a super ability or a super being or a super thing. So we call it God. Since you don't know it, it is God. So by this, I believe that the supernatural God, he created the natural earth. And the second proof of God's existence is the fact that every design demands a designer. Every design demands a designer. When you look at the world, you see how everything is well designed and structured. When you look at the Himalayas in Asia, you look at the Kilimanjaro in Africa, you look at the Pacific, you look at the Atlantic, you go to the Ganges Valley in India, you see the way a cliff sits, a mountain sits, a valley goes down. You see everything orderly arranged. And when you look at me, Apst Ivo, with the black skin, the same nose, the same eyes, you look at my Thai friend, the same eyes, the same nose. You look at an American, the same eyes, the same nose. You look at a Hispanic, the same eyes, the same nose. Everything is orderly done. Everything is orderly designed. The sun rises from the east and settles in the west. Wow. Everything is just structured. You don't see a star entering the moon. You see everything so naturally structured. You see night, and after nighttime, you see the daytime. Wow. You see it's hot, next it is cold. Everything is orderly arranged, seasons arranged, man arranged. The same red blood flowing in my body is the same red blood flowing in a blonde body. Everything is the same. Everything is well structured, orderly arranged. Wow. I've never seen a man whose eyes are here and his chin is down here and his legs are on his head. His legs are on his head. But everybody is the same. So when you look at the whole world and you look at the way everything is structured, it's well designed. Something designed it to be the way it is. Else, you would have seen a man that is somehow having but 16 legs and another man having 4 legs. But someone sat down, designed it so well. By the grace of God, I did some architecture in school. I can draw a plan of a house. I can design it. You will discover that for you to have a perfect design, there must be a designer. For you to have everything put in place, everything well structured, there must be a designer. So this is all an indication and a proof that this world was not just designed from nothing. There was a designer. There was an architect behind all this. That you see valley, you see the mountains, you see the lake, And then you see where it ends. You see fishes swimming in it. Wow. The tilapia you catch in the Atlantic Ocean is the same tilapia in the Pacific. Everything is orderly structured. There is a designer. There was a designer. And so, since life has not been able to give us the name of that designer, I cannot say that that designer was a non-living thing. Because how can a non-living thing create a living thing or design a living thing? This designer, if he could design me and I'm living, then that designer too is living. And since you don't know the name of that designer, I call it a super designer, a super being. I call it a super being. It's a super being. He designed it. He's the designer. And so that designer is God. The third proof I want to show you is that life demands a life giver. Life demands a life giver. I am a man breathing. It has been proven scientifically. It is a scientific fact. It is proven according to the law of biogenesis. The law of biogenesis, it states that life comes from the previously existing life of its own kind. Meaning, according to the law of biogenesis, I can only be a product of a previously existing product that was like me. And so, you could not say that I am living from a natural occurrence. How can gases explode? Then how come I'm living? I would have been like the wood. I would have been like the stone. But how come I'm living and I'm breathing? It is something that had life that begat me or that produced me. So I'm a product of something that begat life, and I look like that thing. Sometimes when I was doing history, they were trying to say that someone like me from Africa, that I come from apes, that we came from apes, that man came from apes. We've put apes in a cage. We've observed apes over thousands of years, and an ape is never turned into a human being. And we discover that all those things are tales, fairy tales. So if I am a human being living and breathing, someone or something gave me life, and that thing should also be living and breathing. And so, since life demands a life giver, I would say that it was something beyond natural that is living that gave me life. So it's a supernatural life giver that gave me life, and that supernatural life giver is God. Number 4, I want to prove it to you that moral law demands a moral lawgiver. Now look at it this way. We are 7-point-something billion people in the world. Man has been existing for thousands upon thousands of years. Who taught us about moral standards? Who taught us about morality? Where did they come from? As I'm growing, I just know that if I take a knife and I kill another fellow person like me, it's wrong. Who taught me that moral law, that moral standard? I just understand that if I take something that does not belong to me, it is wrong. Already I start having a conscience telling me it's wrong. And meaning if I steal, it's wrong. If I go confront another person, fight, kill, it's wrong. What gave me these moral values? Who put them in me? It takes a it takes a moral law giver. It takes a moral law giver to be able to set these things to be. Listen, child of God, I want you to understand that if you go to Thailand and you kill somebody, they will arrest you. If you go to Indonesia, you kill somebody, they will arrest you. Who gave us this sense of mutuality, of moral values and standard? There must be a moral lawgiver. someone somewhere created us and gave us these laws. That is why you don't teach a child that killing somebody is wrong. Already start feeling bad. Else, maybe we would have been growing and eating one another, eating human beings like the lions and the tigers. But there is this morality in us. There must be a lawgiver for that. Someone gave us these laws. And from the ancient landmarks, our fathers of the old, nobody taught them this. They didn't go to school, but they just knew it was wrong. These morals continued to us. Someone gave them, and that someone, that moral lawgiver, is God. Number 5, I want to prove that God exists by what I call the universal belief in a deity all over the world. All over the world, everybody believes something. Everybody wants to believe something. We want to believe that there is something that we should worship or call God. If you go to the Hindus, they will tell you that there is a God, but that their God is Hindu. If you go to the Buddhists, they will tell you that there's a God, and that God is Buddha. If you go to the Baha'is, they will tell you that that God is Baha'u'llah. And different people have different ways. Muslims will tell you it's Allah. Christians will tell you it's God. And everybody has. If you go to Africa, Africans, they believe in a lot of what we call ATRs, African traditional religions. They believe that a stone can be their God. They believe that this stone that was handed over to them from their ancestors could be their God. They pour libation, they do all those incantations there. They believe in trees that could be their God. They worship the tree and they do all that. If you go to India, India has about 3 million gods. They believe that a fly is a god. They believe that a beef, a cow is a god. They believe that anything is a god. They believe in God. They have many gods. Now, the universal belief in something over the world tells us that there is something we should believe in. And if you don't know that thing, I call it God. This is a proof that there is a vacuum in us that keeps wanting to be filled only when we worship or regard something or someone. So there is a belief, the universal belief in God. So with this, I can say that it is not a mistake that I grew up in my own place believing there's a God, and then I saw people left from another part of the world, they are believing in God. Therefore, it shows that there's something about a God that we should believe in. There's something about the deity that we should believe in. And if you don't know the name of that deity, I call it God. Number 6, I want to talk about archaeological proofs, archaeological findings. I did a lot of studies in school, and we realized that there are a lot of archaeological proofs and findings proving that God exists. We've been able to discover the Talmud. We've been able to discover ancient stones that were inscribed on it. People praying to a God, asking help from God. If you go to the Dak Hammadi library, you pick up articles that have existed according to them for millions of years. These people were kneeling down and praying to God, calling the name of God. And all these archaeological proofs shows that the issue of God is not just in our generation. It started from the beginning. Archaeology digs and goes down, and each time they dig and they go down, they realize that every life that existed before us recognized the presence of a God. Therefore, child of God, God exists. The 7th argument I want to prove here is what I call personal testimonies and transformed lives of individuals that have had encounters with God. Now, I have seen serial killers who stopped being serial killers because they said they had a conviction from God. There's this Liberian. In the days of the crisis in Liberia, this guy was moving naked and killing people. Right now, this killer who had killed many people, sent thousands to an early grave, he's now a pastor, and he claims to say that what transformed him, changed him from a serial killer without conscience, was God. He said God appeared to him and talked to him and spoke to him and said he was wrong. You will also bear with me and you will agree with me of many other testimonies of such. But I don't only want to base it on personal testimonies. We've had people who they sleep in the night and they have a dream, and that God comes and tells them that, hey, when you get up, when you go, you'll be taking flight, this. When you go, don't take that flight because there's going to be a crash. So don't take it. Take another flight. And when they went, everything happened the same, and then the plane crashed and they missed it. They missed the accident. Many a times some said God told them that don't enter this bus, it's going to have a crash. I know many of us may say they are our instincts, but where do these instincts come? How can I have a revelation and someone is warning me in that revelation in the form of an angel that don't take this, don't do this, you're going to crash. And by so doing, when they follow those instructions, they see them being delivered from a crash, from an accident or whatsoever. We've also seen testimonies of spiritual encounters and appearances of God to many. And if you also look at the Bible and other religious leaders, they claim to say that they had experiences with God. Muhammad said he met with God in the desert. If you read the Bible, you see our heroes of the old, they had encounters with God. If you look at even our generation, servants of God, men of God, that God used them mightily to pray for people using the name of God, and they got healings and miracles. They said they encounter God. I, for one, standing here, I was not born a pastor. I was very rough. I was very terrible. In fact, I could fight, do terrible stuffs. But one day, I had a voice talking to me, telling me that I am the Lord your God that created you. I want you to change. And when I heard that voice that day, it was so audible into my ears, and from that day I stopped. I accepted him in my life and I stopped doing what I was doing, and then he changed me and I am what I am today. And this same me, I've had encounters where I've seen an angel come down speaking in the name of God, talking about God, talking about heaven, talking about hell. And I've seen him tell me that I should go pray for someone with cancer and that person will get well. I went prayed for that person and the person was healed from cancer. That person did not take chemotherapy. The person was healed. I've seen this for over 13 years as a pastor ministry. And so all these things are proofs that God exists. Child of God, when you put all these things together, you cannot deny the fact that God exists. So, if God exists, from these 7 proofs I've said, I know there are others who can give their own personal testimonies. If I was to throw it to the floor, that go ahead, give me your own testimony, you'll be able to tell me of an encounter. Many of us in the church, in the Pentecostal church, we see the power of God every day. We see him moving in our midst. We see miracles, people coming out from bondages, spirits leaving people. We've also traveled and we've been to places where we see witchcraft, black magic, we see voodoo, we see people teleporting, people sit like that and they fly, they leave their bodies. We see all that. We've seen all kinds of spiritual activities. All these spiritual activities proves that there's a spiritual part of a man that comes from somewhere. And so these are all proofs that God exists. And so, having proven that God exists, now you'll be like, okay, Pastor Ivo, I believe that God exists. Where now did evil come from? Meaning God created the evil? The answer is no. God never created evil, and he does not create evil. Everything about God is good. He does not create evil, neither does he condone with evil. God hates evil. Everything God has ever created was good. According to the creation account in the Bible, in Genesis chapter 1 from verse 1 to 26, if you read down the whole that chapter, you hear how, and when God created everything God created, he said it was good. Everything God created, he said it was good. Everything he created, he said it was good. Everything God has ever created was good. Are you saying that the tigers are good, the lions are good? Yes. Are you saying that the reptiles are good? Yes. The fishes in the sea, the shark, the whale, everything is good. Everything God created was good. Are you saying that the Taliban are good? Are you saying that all these other people are good? All I want to say is that everything God created was good. Now, the mark God gave his creation was G-O-O-D, good. Now, what happened that there is evil around it, making it bad? I'm going to show you. But first of all, I want to show you the source and the origin of evil, where it all started. Where did evil come from? Where is the origin of evil? Now, evil did not originate from God the creator. Evil originated from creation, from God's creation. Let me say it again. Evil did not originate from God the creator. Evil originated from God's creation. And you'll be like, how? If God created everything good, then how come did evil originate from his own creation? Now, follow me. When God created the heavens and the earth, he created the heavens and the earth, and he made sure that he placed man on earth and gave him authority. And in the heavens, he's in control, he's God, and he has angels in charge of activities and different activities in heaven. And so the heavenly beings are different from the earthly beings. The heavenly beings are spirit beings. The earthly beings are spirit, physical beings. They are spiritual and physical beings. So God, when he created the heavens and the earth, he created them, and the goodness of it was the principles in which God created it. So God is a God of principles, and he created the heavens and the earth to function on principles, and he created you and I to function in principles. So God respects principles, and we can only function good in principles. Now follow me. Every manufacturer or every creator, when he creates a product, he puts the principles in which that product should function properly and be good. If you go out of those principles with that product will no more be good. So evil exists as a result of a breaking of principle, or a misuse of principle, or a misplacement, a displacement of principle. Now, when you go against the principle of the manufacturer or the creator, the product will be erroneous, it will be wrong, it will be evil, there will be evil from it. It will no more be good in the way it was created. Everything created is created to function in the principles of its creation. If you take this phone and you put it in water, you are going against the principles of the manufacturer. When you take out this phone, it will no more be good, it will be bad. If you take out food, perishable food, and you don't put it in a deep freezer to store it and keep it according to the manufacturer, if you keep that perishable food out of the deep freezer not to preserve it, it will be bad and you'll be unable to eat it. Each time a product is not following principles, that product will no more be good. That's why every manufacturer puts principles around. They even tell you the expiring date where you cannot use that product anymore. And if you use that product, you are breaking principle. If it has expired and you are using it, you are breaking the principle that is designed for that product. And if you break that principle, the product that was once good, harmless, will now be harmful to you. It is in the same way that when God the Creator created us, He created us to function in principle. So the angels in heaven, they function in principle. We on earth, we function in principle. And one of the principles are principles of morality. These principles, we have two types of them. We have principles that keep us functioning within ourselves, and principles that keep us functioning with our Creator. Now, in one of those principles, God does not share His glory with creation. He doesn't share His glory with anyone. His glory is for Him and for Him alone. You don't take His glory. When you start going against those principles, you will be a misused product. You will be a product stepping against principles. And what should result from that will no more be the goodness that you were created to be, but it will be bad. And so one of the angels who was a covering cherub called Lucifer, he did not follow the principles of the Creator, binding Creator and creation. He did not follow those principles. He went against the principles, and when he went against those principles, that's where evil originated. So evil originated from a creation called Lucifer, who is a covering cherub. And Lucifer sourced evil, and he was the one that brought about evil, because he stepped out of principle and became a bad product. I want to show you all this from the Bible. Can somebody write with me these 3 scriptures on the platform so that people can follow? And sir, you're going to help me. We'll read together, okay? Open your Bible. We'll read together for the people. Open your Bible, and then you stand on the microphone. We'll read together. Somebody put down with me Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12 to 15. And put down again for me Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 14 to 17. And put down for me Revelation chapter 12, verse 7 to 9. Put them all for me on the various platforms, please, if you're watching. Isaiah 14, 12 to 15. Ezekiel 28, 14 to 17. Revelation 12, 7 to 9. All what I just explained to you is told, well clearly written in these passages. We will see how a beautiful angel, they call him the bright morning star, Lucifer, angel of beauty, how he went against principle, and then bad came, evil came. So can you read with me, sir? Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12 to 15. If you've seen it, stand on the microphone, read it loud for us. Yes.
Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12 to 15.
Yes.
How you have fallen from heaven, morning star.
How you have fallen from heaven, morning star. That's what happened, yeah?
Son of the dawn.
Son of the dawn.
You have been cast down to earth.
You've been cast down to earth.
You who once laid low the nations.
Mm-hmm.
You said in your heart.
You said in your heart. Look at what Satan said in his heart. This is what Lucifer said in his heart. That's how he became Satan. Mm-hmm.
I will ascend to the heavens.
So he wanted to ascend to the heavens where God is. He wants to sit where God is. Mm-hmm. Says I will ascend to the heavens. Yes. He wants to sit where God sits. How can you, creation, want to be like Creator? He was breaking principle. Continue.
I will raise my throne above the stars of God.
He says he's going to raise his throne above all the stars of God, meaning he'll be controlling all the other angels by himself. He wants to have everyone under his command.
I will sit enthroned on the mount of assembly.
He wants to sit on the mount of the assembly where God sits and judges the people. He wants to sit on God's seat. He wants to enthrone himself where God is. Means he wants to dethrone God and enthrone himself. How can creation dethrone creator? Impossible.
On the utmost heights of Mount Zaphron, I will ascend above the tops of the clouds. I will make myself the king of Most High.
He says he will make himself the king and the Most High. Means he wants to be like God. How can you, creator, want to be or how can you, creation, want to be creator? It was an abuse of creational principles. It was an abuse of right and authorities. So he went against his creator. It is like you manufacture a robot to serve you, to take you to the market, buy your stuffs and bring. And then the robot now wants to kill you and be you and take over your house. So at that moment, that robot is no more nice. That robot is no more good. That robot now becomes bad. Verse 15. Yes.
But you are brought down to the realm of the dead.
That's how he was brought down to the realm of the dead.
To the depth of the pit.
To the depth of the pit. He was brought down to hell. That's why hell existed. So hell existed to punish this angel for his sins. So if you're asking why hell existed, it was because of the evil that this angel did. So he is the originator of evil, and it's from him that evil came from. And so if you go with me to Ezekiel chapter 28 verse 14 to 17, I read. While I'm reading it, our brother will be opening Revelation 12 7 to 9. I'm reading Revelation 28 14 to 17. It says, thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so that thou wouldest upon the holy mountain of God, thou hast walked upon and down in the midst of the stones of fire. Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day thou was created. So he was a covering cherub. Are you understanding me? Maybe let me read from NIV so that many people will understand. He was the covering cherub. Listen to me very well. He was the covering cherub. A covering cherub in heaven, we have two classes of angels. The high class of angels are called cherubims, and the lower class were called seraphims. The cherubims are commanding angels. So Lucifer himself, he was a covering cherub, always at the altar of God, covering. He was a covering cherub. So the Bible is telling us here that you were anointed as a guardian cherub. For so I ordained you. So God ordained him. You were on the holy mount of God. He was around the throne of God. Yes. You walked among the fiery stones. Yes. He saw the glory of God. He was seeing the splendor of God. You were blameless in your ways, meaning that when God created that angel, he was perfect. He was blameless. He was perfect. From the day you were created, till wickedness was found in you. So verse 15, it says, Ezekiel 28 verse 15, you can read with me. It says, you were blameless in your ways from the days you were created till wickedness was found in you. This is the proof of it. So wickedness, evil, originated from this angel called Lucifer. He is the originator and the source of evil. He broke principle. And then verse 60 says, through your widespread tread you were filled with violence and you sinned. So I drove you in disgrace from the mount of God. So God drove him from his presence, from heaven. And I expelled you, guardian cherub. That's him. He was a covering cherub from among the fiery stones. That's he. God expelled him among the other angels. Your heart became proud on account of your beauty, meaning this angel was so beautiful and he was proud. It's like, I'm so beautiful. And you corrupted your wisdom because of your splendor. So his wisdom, his intelligence, his functioning was corrupted because he felt like he was glittering, he was shining, he was beautiful. So I threw you to the earth. So God cast him out of heaven and flung him down to earth. I made a spectacle of you before kings. God disgraced him before kings to show that you don't rise against your creator. So evil originated from this guy. Read with us, yes, Revelation 12 7 to 9. Let's hear what happened. Yes, Revelation 12, 7-9. It was not an easy, it was like a battle, because he had corrupted at least one third of the stars in heaven. So he was flung away with the fallen angels.
Then war broke out in heaven.
Then there was war in heaven.
Michael and his angels fought against the dragon.
Another angel called Angel Michael, who is the archangel of war. He's also a covering cherub. He came with his battalion. He fought against Lucifer, who is now the dragon, Satan.
And the dragon and his angels fought back.
And him and the people he had corrupted already, they tried fighting back.
But he was not strong enough.
And
they lost their place in heaven.
And so that's how they lost their place in heaven.
The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called
So he was hurled down, that ancient serpent called who?
The devil.
The devil. That's how he now became the devil.
Or
He was hurled down, Satan, yes.
Who leads the whole world astray.
He's now the one leading the whole world astray, you can imagine.
He was hurled to the earth.
He was hurled to the earth.
And his angels with him.
That is it. So, this is what happened. He broke principle, corrupted 1/3 of other angels with him. They bought his idea to make him the kings of kings. And he went against Creator. And so Creator took him off. That's how he became evil. He went out of principle, so wickedness took over him. He is the source and the origin of evil. So God has never created evil, and God has never originated evil. It came from a creation, a creature. It came from a creature called Lucifer. You've seen the proof, the biblical proof. And so, from the time he came down to earth, when he was cast out of heaven, he came down to earth. Now, when he came down to earth, at that time, we on earth, according to what we call studies on dispensational truth, we were in the dispensation of innocence. There was no sin. When God created us, we had no sin. Man was good. Nature was good. Everything was good. So when he came down, he visited us at the garden. When he visited us at the garden, it was not easy. He brought his corrupt nature, and he lured us also to go against principle. He understood that for us to be able to also manifest evil, we should break principle. And on earth, there were also principles keeping us on earth. One of those principles were God telling us not to eat from a particular tree, else we'll become like him. And then our eyes will be open and we'll know good and evil. So, but from other trees we were allowed to eat. And so man knew that was a principle from the Creator that we should not break. So, but this same Lucifer came, incarnated in the serpent, and he incited us, and we also went against principle. So when we went against principle, that's how the evil transferred. That's how we were also caught up with him in the same class. That's how evil came also among us. And from that day, man who was good before became corrupt too. Our nature of goodness was corrupt. So that's how the evil came, and that's how it originated. Started from Lucifer, then transferred to us, where we also broke principle. So, Pastor, are you saying that if man had not eaten the tree in the garden and broke that principle, God, meaning man, would have still been good, everything would have still been good? Yes, everything would have still been good like they were in the days of the Garden of Eden. The lions were okay. Everything was good. Man never knew sickness. We didn't know evil. You could not see a brother taking a knife and killing another brother. You could not see a child pick a gun, goes and say, I'm shooting you because you don't have the color of my skin. You couldn't see any of that because man was innocent. Everything about man was good. The Bible even proved their innocence, that they were both naked and they felt no shame. That's how innocent and good man could be. And so, in the Garden of Eden, if you read Genesis chapter 3 from verse 1 to 19, you will hear the whole story. In Genesis chapter 3 from verse 1 to 19, Satan came, deceived us, and we also went against the principles of God. Then evil also. And when God drove us away from his presence, That's where he punished us also. Earth was cursed. Man was cursed. Nature was cursed. Everything was cursed. That's how evil spreaded. If you read right to verse 19 of Genesis chapter 3, you will see it. That's how it all continued. And now you will agree with me. You will agree with me. Please make sure that you put these scriptures on the platform for me. I said you should put Ezekiel 28 verse 14 to 17 too. Put Revelation 12 7 to 9. Put Genesis chapter 3 1 to 19. And Genesis chapter 6 verse 1 verse 3 to 7. Genesis 6 verse 3 to 7. So now in Genesis chapter 6 verse 3 to 7, we'll see how the evil had progressed in man. And before this time, in Genesis chapter 4, we'll see the first murder in the Bible. Cain is now killing his brother Abel. Why? Evil had taken over the heart of man. Cain is killing his own brother. Evil had taken over the heart of man. And from here, we'll also see how in Genesis chapter 6, verse 3 to 7, God is crying and lamenting that the heart of man is desperately wicked. The heart of man is evil, for his everything is, even the inclination of his thoughts are evil. God is lamenting and God is regretting why he created man. Read with us verse 5 to 7. Genesis 6 5 to 7. He's saying they are desperately wicked. Read with us. Genesis chapter 6 5 to 7.
The Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth.
The Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth,
and that every intention of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually.
Meaning every intention from the thoughts of his heart was only what? Evil continuously.
And the Lord regretted that he had made man on the earth.
The Lord regretted that he had made man on the earth.
And it grieved him to his heart.
It grieved him in his heart. He felt so bad. He was so he regretted. He cried and he regretted why. He repented why he even created us. Thank you. So you can see how the extent of the evil had continued. Now you will go ahead to see how it started spreading, and man dropped from every moral goodness he knew to evil. If you read Galatians chapter 5 verse 19 to 21, you will hear how this evil is manifesting in different forms. If you also read 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 9 to 10, can you read with us Galatians 5 19 to 21? If you read also 1 Corinthians chapter 6 9 to 10, you will see how the evil is manifesting in different ways. In Colossians chapter 3 verse 5, you see how the evil is manifesting in different ways. In Ephesians chapter 5 verse 3, you see how the evil is manifesting in different ways. In Proverbs chapter 6 verse 16 to 23, God is saying there are 6 things I hate. 7 are an abomination, detestable to me. A proud look. You will hear him saying that hands that shed innocent blood, feet that are quick at running to evil, a lying tongue. You will hear him crying and saying all these things. Yes, read with us Galatians chapter 5 19 to 21. You hear him crying and lamenting how this evil is manifesting in different ways in man. See how this evil is manifesting in different ways. Yes.
Now the works of the flesh are
These are the works of evil. Yes.
Sexual immorality.
Sexual immorality. And today our sexual immorality is crazy. Prostitution, bestiality, all kinds of sex with animals, sex with unlawful sexual relations that are very bad. A man is having sex with a man, a woman having sex with a woman, a dog having sex with a human being, all the craziness, an adult having sex with a little child, all those crazy stuff. Sexual immorality is the manifestation of evil now. Yes.
Impurity.
All kinds of evil, impurity, negative things happening. Yes.
Sensuality.
Adultery.
Sorcery.
That's
Enmity.
witchcraft. Yes.
Strife.
Jealousy.
Fits of anger.
Anger everywhere.
Rivalries.
Yes.
Dissensions.
Divisions.
Envy.
Even in families, envies among brothers. Drunkenness. It's normal for people to drink and get drunk. These are manifestations of evil. Yeah. Orgies.
And things like this. I warn you as I warned you before.
Thank you. So these things are real. There are just so many of them. And now in Romans chapter 3 verse 23, Paul now says there that for all of us we have sinned and we have fallen short of the glory of God. Meaning this evil has lamented all the whole world. It has invaded the whole world. Every child born in this world is born with evil. There's not evil now that is now part of man by reason of this. So it started from a creature, spreaded, and now it is everywhere. It is all over. So there's evil in the world. There is evil in the world. So now you've now known where evil started and how it spreaded. So what is God, who exists, doing about this evil? Is he just sitting down and watching how the evil is slaughtering others? The evil is dealing with everybody? Is he just seeing how the evil is spreading? What is he doing about it? Does he just allow everything to just crash and crumble? No, he's not. God is not sitting quiet. God is not sitting quiet and watching everything go down. Some of you may say, like a lot of atheists, they say that if God is God, then why is he letting the evil prevail? God is not letting it prevail. And he's not just minimizing it. He's doing something about it. And I want to show you. Can I show you now what God is doing with evil in the world? Now, follow me. From the time where man, this evil transferred to us, from the time where it started from Lucifer, God already did something about it. From the day God discovered evil in Lucifer, God did something immediately about it. What did God do? The first thing God did was that he sent Lucifer out of the sector so that he will not contaminate the other sect. And what did he do? He prepared a place of punishment for Lucifer. And those people he corrupted with the evil. So God had prepared a place for that, which I will show you. It is called the lake of fire. It is prepared to punish that creature that broke principle and evil came from. So God prepared that as a place of punishment for that angel, that fallen angel. The next thing God did was, God warned man and said we shouldn't fall prey to the deception of that fallen angel. But we were so naive, and the vulnerability of Eve gave a listening ear to the deception of that fallen angel. And then also we broke the principle. In that, what did God do? God did not want to punish us like he punished Lucifer, because God understood that he incited us. God is a just God. So what did God do? If you go throughout the Bible, beginning now from Genesis chapter 3 right up to the end of Revelation, you see how God has been doing everything in his power and capacity to see how he can eradicate that evil from us and bring us back to himself, which is the message or the theme, the summary of the Bible. The summary of the Bible now is God trying to eradicate sin and eradicate that evil and bring us back to himself. And so in Genesis chapter 3 verse 15, God gave a promise. We call that promise the promise of the seed, the Zerah promise. We call it the Zerah promise. The Zerah promise, he said, Lucifer, you did this to mankind. One day mankind will give birth to a seed, and that seed will crush your head. God was saying that Satan understood the system, and he came and he manipulated the system and also caused us, drag us into the same mud with him. But one day mankind will give birth to someone who will come and understand that same system and will clean us out back from that mud. And so when God gave that promise, he made sure that that promise came to pass. In the Old Testament, prophets spoke about the promise. A major prophet spoke about it. Kings, priests talked about it. And in the book of Matthew chapter 1, we see Jesus coming as the Zerah promise, as the seed of that woman. And what happened? It was God himself that came, following principle, begged the womb of a woman, used that womb of a woman, got into it, and came out in a human form. And by that, he was able to rescue mankind from the mud of Lucifer. Meaning this time around, Lucifer will perish in his place of punishment by himself. And so now, God brought remedy to this evil by sending Jesus Christ, his only son, his begotten son. And so Jesus Christ came as the antidote to evil, the solution to the evil that Lucifer perpetuated. So Jesus is that solution. Now when Jesus came, this is how he eradicated the sin. He took all the evil